Aaron's flu you caught off him?
Yeah, he passed it on to me, the big bloke, so hopefully he's okay to play, yeah.
It's not going through the club or anything like that? It's just...
No, I think it's been through over the last month, really. So every club goes through it, and some weeks you get hit worse than others. But yeah, he was the only one last week.
What did you make of Adelaide last week? Pretty impressive against
I haven't watched them. I know it was a good result for them. I haven't got to them yet. I just finished our review. I'll start tuning into Adelaide today. So obviously they're in pretty good form. Their midfield's up and about. Big challenge, really.
What were your thoughts on the Richmond game?
Yeah, we lost.
I mean, I guess, you know,
Yeah.
Garrick talked about the skill errors and that sort of thing yesterday.
Yeah, it was more than skill. I think it's easy to focus on that, but they outworked us, really, quite simply. Their midfield outworked our midfield, their backs outworked our forwards, and their forward outworked our backs. So you get what you deserve in this game, and we were solid, but they were at a really high level. So it's a sharp reminder for us, if you breathe out a little bit, how quickly you come back to the field.
You plan for Dangerfield to play this week? They sort of, Dan Bello said yesterday he might push, but do you plan for him to play or not play?
Yeah, I think you plan for both scenarios, really. I think he's a top flight player who'll push to get himself up. AFL players are competitive beasts. They love playing the game, so I'm sure on the back of he'd be buoyed by a win and he'd be keen to get out there with his mates. So, yeah.
Do you expect to get a couple back yourself with Aaron and Nick?
Yeah, we expect to. They'll train Thursday, and then we'll go to selection. And there's obviously not everyone played at a really high level, so and those two have been, particularly Nick Suvan's been a really strong contributor this year, and Aaron's history suggests that he'll help us in the ruck. So once they jump those hurdles and available selection, we'll make a decision.
Ross, you mentioned you got out after the game. You mentioned you got outworked a bit of the clearances. Is that something you'll focus on extra this week?
Yeah, it's always really important. It's a bit about the quality about them. We could have a bit more movement, a bit more zip around there. So yeah, it was a disappointing day there.
So it's a bit of an effort thing rather than a structural thing?
No, not. Well, they gave good effort. Their method was a little bit out, and Richmond were we acknowledge they're the number one attack, number 2 defence clearing team. So they're a high performance unit, the Tigers in that area, and we couldn't quite match them.
Adelaide as well was pretty good at stoppages. Do you expect another big challenge?
Yeah, it is. It keeps coming, doesn't it? And that's the beauty. You've got to earn that right to play finals football, and you come up against elite outfits that don't gift you a ticket to the finals. So yeah, it's going to be. Quite often it's won and lost in the midfield. You can only counter-punch so much. You need to drive opportunities from the midfield, and that's what we'll be aiming to do.
Do you look at maybe at a player like Vic Mitchell, sort of getting 9, 10 clearances most weeks in the waffle, if it's an area you're concerned about? Yeah,
that's a really good point. We'll have a good look at him, and we look at every player on our list, and then we'll go to the match committee.
Was David Mundy okay? He seemed to roll his ankle?
Yeah, he did roll his ankle. Yeah, it was a pretty astute observation, but he's actually okay, and he'll train Thursday and play.
Another one you've thrown up earlier in the week was Josh Mellington. He sort of seems like he's come close throughout the year, but what has he done now that sort of put himself in contention?
Well, probably Hayden Ballantyne being else helped him. So Hayden's been probably holding his spot with pretty good form, and Walter's been pretty good. So small forward opportunity, that's what he is. That's where he plays in the waffle. And he played quite well on the weekend, kicked 2-4. And Josh tore his hamstring last year, then had a syndesmosis ankle. So he's been injury interrupted, but he's fighting back to some really good form and giving himself an opportunity. And it's really good for us because we've got significant injuries. Got about 12 on our injury list. The AFL average is about 7. So we've got some challenges there, so it's great to see him pushing up.
Alex Silvani playing down forward, how have you found that's worked?
Well, he was half down forward and half down back last week, so that's why we picked him. He could go both ends. Yeah, he was steady. Yeah.
Hey, do you look at a similar setup this week?
I've got to go to match committee and have a look.
Just on Zach Clark, it's been a big year for him in terms of responsibility. Can you just talk us through how you've seen his development? Yeah,
he's coming on. I think Simon Madden wrote a great article. He was one of the great ruckmen, and speaking about Cruz, he was #1 pick in the land and highly touted that you won't see the best of his players at 100 games, so I think that applies to Zach, you know. But I think he stepped up and really carried it's a really hard physical burden in there. So I think Aaron and Jack Hanneth have come to hand at the right time to support him.
During the pre-season, it seemed like it was more slated towards a forward line role. But where do you see his best position now?
Well, he's been rucking, and I think you're right. He trained forward. You know, there's Griffin and Sandilands, but he's really stepped up. You know, I think he's a work in progress, isn't he? He's sort of young, 202. You know, he's still putting on weight and learning the caper, and I think he come to the sport late. So yeah, he's got real upside. I think ultimately as a ruckman. You know.
And what are some of those areas that he just needs to take to the next level?
Yeah, well, his ball handling and his ruck work and his body work and his tackling and his follow-up and his positioning around the ground. I think he can improve in all those aspects.
And I know we touched on Sandilands earlier, but physically, is he completely over the flu at the moment, or is he still?
No, I think he's had his sort of lemon and honey drink and had the chicken soup and the antibiotics. I think he's okay.
Ross, though, is Anthony Morabito at? Is he far from playing?
Yeah, look, I was asked about Anthony on 6PR Monday night, and there's about 100 boxes you have to tick coming off Rico, traditionally. So there's a paper done on that, and you can understand it's his third reconstruction. So he's at about a box 90, so he's got a lot more hurdles, another 10 or so to jump, and they're significant hurdles. So there's certainly no pressure on Anthony to return. We're all interested, but you know, you've been seeing him train. Occasionally he'll have some soreness in the knee where we need to back it off and those things, and there's a fair bit of work to go. But I think everyone's been really, what I've been thrilled about is that we've all maintained a strong interest and support, but we've been really respectful of his privacy and letting him go along at his own pace, not trying to dictate to him. So I think if we can keep that going, you guys will be happy, Anthony will be happy, and we'll be happy.
Is there a chance he probably won't play in 2013 at any level? Or?
Yeah, look, it'd be dangerous. I think it's a real, what is there, 6 to go. So, yeah, it's probably as good a chance that he won't as he will, yeah.
Ross, just on Adelaide, Matt Wright and Andy Otten were their leading goal kickers last week. They sort of have a bit of an unpredictable forward setup. Is that a challenge for you this week?
Yeah, it is. They are, aren't they? Like, obviously, Taylor Walker with a Rico and Tippett trundling off to Sydney has made them reinvent themselves. And look, you know, young Tom Lynch is going really well, obviously known from the Saints, and then Wright's kicked 4. And they're more creative, they've added more handball to their game, and they've certainly had their challenges, but they seem to be making a run at it. And we understand it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be, it is harder to plan, no doubt.